Hey everybody. I wanted to do a video on stages of discernment and the process that each of us go through in some form or fashion in trying to figure out our vocation or a major decision in life. But usually our vocations are like one of the biggest decisions that take forever. So if you're out there discerning if you're called to marriage or if you're called to some form of consecrated life, priesthood, religious life, consecrated virginity, secular institute, one of those kind of full gift of yourself vocations. When you're in the journey of discernment, there are certain times where you need to start doing something and other times when you need to be at peace and wait. And that takes a lot of paying attention to the movements of the heart and where you're at. At a certain early stage of my journey, for instance, there was a lot of grappling with, oh my goodness, marriage, consecrated life, and I had to go through a lot of different forms of mourning of not having children someday, letting go of the idea of being a spouse to somebody on earth, and all that comes with that in that form of love. It took time, and I needed to make sure that even though it's uncomfortable to go in those back and forth movements, here you're one moment thinking, oh, I'm called to marriage, and then the next day you're like, oh no, I really think God's calling me to be his bride in the world. And you grapple with that for a long time, and sometimes we want to stop that short and have that uncomfortable transitory time over with. But sometimes we need a lot of time to discern through that, to properly be able to say a full yes to the beautiful vocation that we're called to. So let God take that time with you. However, there is a time where we need to start moving our wheels. We need to start doing something, visiting convents, going out to the seminary, trying a year in an order, or something like that. God can't steer a parked car. I've heard that said many times, and I like to say that myself. When we have periods of perpetual discernment, we can only be in our heads for so long. We need to start doing something, and that's when God really can act in you. If you start visiting convents, oh my goodness, he can totally show you, no, you are so unpeaceful there, it's just not home for you, to go try something else, right? But you have to take that effort in going to visit a convent. And sometimes we never make that effort because we want to stand in this safe mode of discernment, and I haven't completely figured it out yet, so I can't start dating someone, or I can't start walking towards discerning a religious order. No, there is a point in which you've got to make that move. You've got to put yourself out there and just start seeking out an order and start actually discerning a vocation to consecrate life or marriage or whatever. Start dating. So I just encourage you to feel that sense of the heart. Where is your heart? Is it restless to start moving to that next stage of discernment? Or do you need to still grapple for a while with, for instance, marriage and consecrated life, or different forms of consecrated life? Okay, consecrated virginity, consecrated Miles Christi, or servants of God's love in Ann Arbor. What are you grappling with? And let that be led by God. Let God lead that process. I wish you well, and I just ask you to continue to grow in a deeper love with the Lord, so you might hear and be attuned to what the Spirit's doing. And if you're kind of pushed to that next level of discernment, or he's calling you to wait here for a while, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable. And sometimes you have to wait a long time for something to be fulfilled. God tests us by fire, right? So St. Paul talks about sometimes we're put into trials so our faith might be tested and purified as gold. Well, your journey of vocation is tested by your grappling for a while, and also searching and putting yourself out there and going where the doors open for you. And sometimes if doors don't quite open, God might even ask you to wait and be patient for the doors to open if it's your call. So be sensitive to the Spirit, docile, and listen to where you're finding peace and joy and rest with God, and where you need to make some movements towards a something. Peace.